if we are focusing on the political economy of edtech platforms, the question that one could ask is, why are platform companies entering higher education sector? First, we need to establish, are they entering? And then the question is, why are they entering? Well, a basic explanation would be revenue. There is a new forms of revenue, and a lot of literature suggests that these new forms of value are constructed around data. A lot of platform technologies are data driven. The infrastructure and the technological architecture is built in a way to collect any and all available information, and the value of a platform company and its valuation is directly linked to its capacity to collect and turn it into valuable knowledge. So it is essentially value creation through datafication. And in that, how are they creating value? It's not just by selling data to other third parties. It is also by not by selling, but by renting it. Like how the concept of rentiership comes into play, and the academicians Bert started theory of assetization, and Komenevik from Lancaster University imported it to understand how assetization practices are being brought about by platform companies. And she describes rentership as the appropriation of value through ownerships and control rights, monopoly conditions, and regulatory or market devices and practices. So to get into it, it's closely related to assetization. And what is assetization? It is transformation of an intangible something into an asset that is conceptualized as a process of assetization. And rentiership is very close to it, but it distinguishes itself by focusing on the social practices that accommodate this transformation into an asset. And in this framework, we try to look at the power dynamics through which the rent is being extracted from higher education, and that is mainly understood through looking at who has control over data and digital objects that are being provided on the platform. So, in contextualizing rentiership into Indian higher education landscape, I have first looked at the existing platform partnerships with higher education, which we will look at MOOCs that were existing, which were supposedly open, but slowly have turned into more for-profit offerings with certifications for paid courses and all of this. And the literature on this platformization was about commodification of education. McCowan tried to understand MOOCs as how they are fragmenting parts of higher education, and slowly each fragment is being outsourced for platform companies. And this is understood as commodification of education. But rentiership is a step after marketization, as I understand it. It starts with slowly getting outsourced fragments outsourced from higher education. But at the end, the ultimate aim is to establish rentiership. It is to not sell the platform technology as a commodity, which is understood as one-time purchase. But in a rentiership, it's not a sale of commodity. It's more of the ownership still remains with the company, but it is rented out through subscription fees. So expectations about higher education sector has started long back, and different platform offerings were catering to different sectors. And in my analysis, I found that higher education sector has been understood as something which has it's at an incubation stage, which is supposed to grow with regulatory changes. And the recent regulatory framework guidelines change to online distance learning or online learning started with allowing for higher education institutes to offer online learning, not just through SWAYAM, but any platform of their choice. And soon, in the provisions listed, whatever was the criteria, we've seen other edtech platforms offering online program management services with same provisions like user management, course content management, personalized learning. all of this this is just understand the marketization practices. And if you look at the landscape of online program managers, they're everywhere. They are globally popping up. They're in India. And when we look at what happened after the regulatory changes, many institutions were allowed to provide online education. And so far, 95 higher education institutes were entitled and recognized. 7 were recognized. And out of this, I've tried to find how many are they, how many of them are opting for a public platform like Swayam, or how many are going for non-Swayam platform. One thing to note in here is even though Swayam platform existed much before these guidelines and they were called in partnership, much more of the recent and newly entitled higher education institutes are opting for non-Swayam as the way. In the non-Swayam, it could be in-house development of the platform architecture or outsourcing it completely. That is some information that is yet to be researched. And in my analysis, I'm trying to focus on online program managers because they have a particular control over many aspects of online learning. They are essentially learning management systems, but they also offer services in curriculum design and all of the roles which were previously under the domain of faculty. And in the OPM management sector itself, there is newer and newer players, not just the edtech platforms. There is like higher education institutes itself offering the online program management. There is generalist OPMs and the specialists and the MOOC as OPMs, and all of this constitute this OPX, which is the new category of all the online program managers. And it is essential to see where this is headed in. I hope I'm not taking too much time. Should I conclude? Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So in this kind of development, first we need the data of where we are headed. What are the possible ways in which partnerships can happen? If we study the current emerging partnerships, we get to know whether it is headed towards oligopoly of very few online program managers, or is it going to be on the university side where university is developing their own architecture and building their own in-house capabilities, and whether on the edtech platform side itself, whether we are trying to get different online very fragmented online program managers, where there are many online program managers just for the task of online provision. So this would kind of tell us whether we are headed into a monopoly, which would have further consequences for rentiership. And so in this framework, I would be looking at mainly what are the forms of rent being collected. First would be the obvious monetary rent, whether they are offering it for subscription fees, which is or a one-time payment of fee for service, whether they're going for a percentage of tuition. So when they have percentage of tuition, there's OPMs trying to give more of the services into recruiting more students, which would be like part of the online program management. And another major aspect would be data rent. So if the data that is the source of value for the platforms, how are they trying to turn the data that is coming from platform usage into an asset? We can see the personalized learning or AI, artificial intelligence products as all of them as a data rent. They are trying to collect data from our labor of students and faculty labor, and they're trying to own the content by offering intelligence-based services. It could be data dashboards, it could be personal adaptive learning modules. So for that, we need to look at how involved are faculty in the process of designing and deciding platform tools. Because if they, in the creation of these digital learning modules, if platforms are more playing the major part, they might be able to lay the claim for having this as their IP, intellectual property, and that would pave the way for them to future making the data intelligence products part of their service, which they will sell to universities. it could be understood as Turnitin, like how Turnitin benefits from the assignments that we submit to the platform, but also it makes their service more robust because they're able to compare our assignments to other assignments. So in a way, our data is contributing to their product, but what we are instead getting as institutions and students is just a proprietary software that is guarded by platforms. So this is essentially rentiership in work. So to understand all of this, we need to look at the contractual agreements, the software licenses, terms of use, and yeah. Sorry, I've taken too much time. Thank you.